A lot of the comments were saying the powders were too much. Welcome to the second episode in my base work series where I try somebody else's routine to see whether or not I would use their routine. And then later on, I let you know what I learned from that routine and how I can incorporate that into my own regular routine. Now, if you didn't know, a few videos ago, we tried out Uche Notori's very viral, very famous British Girl foundation routine. That routine was basing, okay? Her base and my base, after I used her tutorial, was basing. My base looked so friggin' good, I didn't want to wash my face at the end of the day. Today, I'm going to let you know what I learned from Uche Notori's foundation routine that I tried a few days ago. Majority of the comments I was getting under the video is, I would try this, but there are way too many steps and way too many products, and I don't really know how it's gonna end up looking on my skin after I finish this whole routine. So in today's video, I'm going to take all the parts from Uche's makeup routine that I tried, that I absolutely love, and see if I can incorporate it into my makeup routine using products that I generally already use, and see whether or not I can get an effect slightly similar to hers, but with less product. I don't know if it's possible, but I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, and if you notice this lipstick, it's because I'm doing another series. You can find it down below because by the time this video goes up, I should have already posted the series on the lips, okay? Let's go ahead and jump into the video. If you are new to my channel, my name is Ohemaa. Welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, hey. Before this video could walk, Uche Notori's makeup routine had to sprint before my recreation or attempt of her foundation routine could run. I will link both videos down below in the description box, so definitely check them out because I think that will help you understand where I'm coming from with this routine, okay? Just bear with. Brows. One thing I learned from her that I'm actually going to keep doing is laying down my brow hairs with brow gel before I actually start my makeup routine. Now, I like using a gorgeous dark colored brow gel to lay my brows down because one, I don't have a lot of brows, and two, the dark color will actually make it look and appear as if I have a nice thick natural lash situation going, but in actuality I don't. My brows are micro shaded on and I have very little brow hairs in there to give that illusion of an actual gorgeous brow. But before I do that, I will also ensure and make sure that my brow is properly trimmed and maintained. I will explain why a little bit down the road when we actually fill in and do our brows. Next are the eyes. She does not put on any eyeshadow primer. For me, generally, I will put on eyeshadow primer before I do my makeup. So what I'm doing is just applying some eyeshadow primer to my eyes. That way, I don't get any cracks or creaks or movement in whatever I end up putting on my eyes, because I do have oily skin, and if I don't prime my eyes, whatever I put on there ends up getting lines in it. And it actually did happen when I tried her routine. What I like to do is take the excess eyeshadow primer that's left and just apply it to my under eyes. This is the MAC 24-hour Extend Eye Base. It's an eyeshadow primer, not an eyeshadow base. Next, primer. I love a good face primer, and the one thing I loved about her routine is that she actually uses her primer. She does not just do one pump of primer. She uses her primer. I'm using the same primer from when I tried it. This is the Fenty True Matte Primer. I do have oily skin and I do want a mattifying primer, but I like primers that don't suck the life out of my skin. The Fenty mattifying primer is somehow hydrating, but also mattifying at the same time. It feels almost like you're putting an oil-free moisturizer on your skin. So I will apply some to the under eyes as well. I just touched my brows. I need to keep reminding myself that I put an eyebrow gel down. That way I don't ruin it, because the whole point is to help the brows stay in place. I don't have a lot of brows, so I just, I just put the brow gel down and just leave it alone. I have been trying to figure out why my lips were feeling so dry, and I realized I had not used my Paula's Choice Peptide Balm Gloss yet. That's why my lips were looking and feeling dry. Perfecto. Instead of going in with a base of powder to help smooth and also help control her oils, she goes in with a Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Balm, because this product, as I tested it, is something that actually helps control your oils, and I really like what it looks like. And it has some pigment in it, so it helps give a bit of coverage and also just helps control your oils as the day goes by. There's also a translucent version of this you can use that doesn't have any color in it whatsoever. I like that for her routine, she just does a swipe on the sides of her face instead of just patting this product all over her base before she goes in with her foundation. What I would do is I'm definitely keeping this part of her routine because, you know, it helps you limit the amount of that product that you add into your skin. And then we're going in with our foundation. We're using the MAC NW60 foundation. I'm going to start out with a pump on the back of my hand, dot it on my base before I blend it in. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and blend it in. Using a brush to blend in the foundation just helps you keep all the products on your skin. So this is definitely something that I will keep doing. Of course, I will keep a makeup sponge on hand if I feel like I need to take away some of the product. What I learned from her is apply the foundation to your eyes and your under eyes. So we're gonna do that. There's no need to leave any part of your skin out if you're applying foundation, because the whole point is to have a very even tone complexion. So why did I used to leave parts of my skin out when I was applying foundation? I don't know. Like I really don't know, but it stops now. Okay, this part of the routine is something that I used to do, but not in the way or extent that she does it. But doing it the way that she does it has helped me see the need and the use for actually doing it this way, okay? I'm applying the concealer to my face and the V right here, and just dragging it only halfway down, not all the way down to the tip of the nose. Applying more of a skin tone concealer first on the sides and the inner parts, essentially anywhere you would put concealer, okay? Oh, not in the middle part of the face. The one thing I used to do is apply the concealer to the middle part of my face, but we're not doing that anymore. We're gonna put it on the side of the mouth and the side of, essentially the side of the nose where your smile lines will generally appear, okay? So my concealer placement has changed. Now that we've done this, we're gonna go in with our more lighter concealer. My lighter concealer is going to be the Fenty 480, okay? And fill in this gap right here. I definitely need to look up when I'm applying concealer. Add it on top of everything. I drag it a little bit down like that. And just apply that brighter concealer next to your first concealer that you put down, or you can put it on top of that concealer. Okay, now of course when I first tried it I used even brighter concealer than I'm using now. Right now I'm using my slightly brighter concealer and my skin tone concealer together. This will make it a bit easy in my opinion. Next we're going with bronzer. I used to stay away from cream bronzers because I really didn't know how it would work in my routine. I have reviewed them. I do know what they look like. In my case, contour. I have stayed away from cream contours because I generally didn't know what it was going to look like in my routine. But doing it the way she does it is something that's definitely going to help. I'm applying the contour to the highest points of my cheekbone, essentially where I would put my blush, right? So I'm definitely gonna keep doing this. This is something I used to do except with powder, but I realized that with the cream product it actually sits on the skin better, and then you go in with your powder products to mix everything in. But what I'm not doing is lining the whole entirety of my jaw. What I used to not do is actually apply contour directly on my nose and my face, but I'm gonna do it today, and I'm actually gonna start adding this in my routine. Okay, so applying that contour right there definitely helped. I really loved the structure that I got from it. And then on the lip as well, because it made my lips look so good, and I added some to the bottom of the lip as well. It just makes everything look better. This is the LYS bronzer contour stick. In my case it's a contour stick. This is it, and we're just gonna let it dry down and do its thing. First, we're going to blend out the bronzer. Blending out the bronzer first, in my opinion, helps you mix everything in and essentially see how it's gonna go. Generally, I put my contour lined up with the top of my ear, so in this area, right? But placing her contour here helped her highlight her cheekbone as well as help her reach that hollow without actually dragging down her cheekbone. I like this placement a whole lot. I loved my placement before, but I love this placement even better. So this is definitely something I'm gonna keep doing and applying it on the broader side of my cheek. So blending it in, it gives me more shadow and it gives me more width to my cheekbone. Instead of actually applying the bronzer to my chin, I will take the excess on my brush and apply that to my chin area. This is definitely helping me have a more pronounced chin without me worrying about if I have blended in the product to my chin very well. If that makes any sense, thumbs up this video. Now, generally, I would go in with my concealer, blend it out, set my face going with my powder contour, which is very, very deep. And, then I find a way to try to blend it in. Now, doing it this way helps me blend my cream contour into my foundation to give me this gorgeous subtle shadow to my face without it being too much. I love this. I don't even know why I wasn't doing this before, but I'm gonna start doing it now. Of course, blending in this contour right here into the brow bone and also bringing it down. So for the nose part, I'm using a smaller blending brush, and what I'm going to do is blend it all the way down the side of my nose. That way the entirety of my nose is contoured. I like this because on a day-to-day, I don't like applying very stark contour to my nose anyway, because my nose is already very structured and I feel like adding more to it just makes it look very, very off-putting and very unnatural. So adding this step I learned from her to my routine is definitely going to help me contour my nose without me doing too much. Let's go ahead and blend our concealer. Now, in the routine she showed, she did apply some of that bronzer to the outer parts of her eye because she was going for a more natural look in that tutorial. Now, this is a routine that I am doing to actually be able to add eyeshadow to my face. So I am going to take that concealer and apply it all over my eyelids. This helps me further even the skin tone on my eyes. That way when it's time for me to do my eyeshadow, my eyes were already prepped, primed, and concealed, and I could just jump right into my eyeshadow. This will also, of course, save you time if you're trying to do this routine before work. Now, of course, because we let the concealer sit while we were applying and blending in the contour, the concealer has dried down a whole lot and we don't really need to do too much to blend it in. So if you're somebody who has extremely dark under eye circles, definitely apply the concealer, do something else for a while before you come in and try to blend out the concealer. Okay, this will help you keep most of the products on your face and you wouldn't have to worry about the concealer being too much. Usually when I go in immediately and blend in my concealer, the concealer just overtakes my face because I feel like it is too creamy and I always question, why did I even put so much on my face? When it comes to makeup, a lot of people teach using a blending sponge to blend everything in. Yes, a blending sponge is something that works very well, but only using a blending sponge takes away from the products, especially on the under eyes. If you're somebody who finds that your under eyes don't get covered properly using the blending sponge, definitely use the brush and then use the sponge to smooth everything out and maybe take away some of the products if you want. So this is definitely something that I like because I am a sponge through and through girly. So adding the sponge on top of it is definitely something that I will keep doing. Of course, this is something I already do, which is taking your foundation brush and blending your concealer in. That way it looks beautiful and seamless into the skin. Except this time around, I am using my bronzer brush to blend in around the concealer because remember, I already put down my bronzer. So the shades of my face have already been created and I don't need to create some more shade later if I don't want to, right? So I'm just using this to blend it in, and as you can see, everything blends in beautifully. Of course, our foundation brush, and for the foundation brush, I will just go over everything just to help it look more skin-like and not so divided. Now, one comment I was getting from the initial video was that there was too much powder going on. People felt like there was just so much powder and they feel like it would look too cakey on their skin tone. Now, for me, generally, naturally, when I do my makeup, I don't go in with a powder foundation and then a setting powder. But the reason why I feel she did it was because it helps give her more coverage on the under eyes. But for us regular folk that don't want that extra step of a powder foundation, I'll just go in with my setting powder, and I'm using the Givenchy Prism Leave in the shade number 6. Now, in her routine, she likes to go in with light powders, but for me, because I want it to look a little bit more on the understated side, I'm going in with shade number 6, because shade number 6 to me matches my regular concealer very, very well. I will set over everywhere that I put the concealer. I am loving the fact that I don't have concealer right above my lip. Instead, I have a contour. It's helping my lips look a lot better, and I am here for it. Now, because I have oily skin, I am going to powder my whole entire nose, because if I don't do that, my nose tends to sweat a lot and the oils just come through a lot quicker than I would like. So definitely doing this will definitely help me keep all the oils at bay, okay? And then I will set it with, next I'm going in with my powder bronzer. I generally don't add powder bronzer to any of my looks, but I'm going to add powder bronzer because it's going to help me set whatever I already did, and it also just helps it look very, very stunning. This is the Juvia's Place Bronzer Duo in the shade Deep Dark. Bottom first, top next. Okay, and we're gonna put this everywhere we put our cream contour bronzer situation. Generally, I go ahead and I bake my under eyes with a powder that is a bit on the yellow side for me. So I'm taking Warm Honey from Juvia's Place. It is a very bright powder for my skin tone, and I will only use a little bit of it to essentially bake under my eyes. She does this, but of course at this point she would have gone in, this would have been her third powder that she was going in with, like a third shade of powder, which makes her under eyes look very bright, and that's not a bad thing. But a lot of the comments were saying the powders were too much, and I think that was something that was very scary to some folks. So we're just gonna try to make it a little bit, for lack of better words, simplified. Okay, and use that to carve out the nose a bit more, a little bit on the forehead, because I have oily skin. Adding a little extra powder helps me out tremendously. And I'm not putting too much, but I will also just accentuate the pulls of the face to give me a more lifted look. We're going in with the Fenty Daiquiri Dip and applying it on. This is a step I generally do already, so go ahead and apply blush however you apply blush. I generally put blush on the bridge, on the tip of my nose, because I just love what it looks like. I have never thought about putting bronzer on the tip of my nose. So doing it the way that she does it, I absolutely love it because it helps the nose and the lip tie into each other very nicely. She also applies the powder bronzer on the tip of her lips. This definitely helps to give the lips a fuller look. Of course, I already love applying blush to my nose, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm also applying some of the blush to my I don't know what this part of my face is called. I need to find out. But to right here, like the sides of my nose, almost like a contour, because she does go over everywhere that you would generally put a contour with her bronzer, and that helps her face look a lot warmer. So we're doing that because we don't, although we want the shadows, we don't want it to be too cool, right? So that's why we're doing that. Now we'll take our regular setting powder and we'll use that to cut the contour that we did. This right here definitely helped me layer my products so well that like the base looks really, really good. My under eyes are slightly brighter than they generally would look, but it's not intensely as bright as when I tried her routine. Definitely taking the pieces from her routine that I absolutely love and adding it to my routine has helped me reach this specific point that I am in love with. Of course, like I said, if you invite me to an event, I will show up with 6 powders and all of that because her base routine is absolutely stunning. This is the base. Let me know what you think. Okay, before we move on, when I tried her routine, step fourth step. This is what my base looked like compared to now, and this is what my base looked like, picking and choosing from her routine and adding it to my already existing routine. Now, the thing that she did that blew my mind was that she actually uses her brow pencil to draw the brow strokes in the front of her brows, very much like how I do mine. I thought most people just use like a brow pen to draw the brow strokes in the front of their brows, but I'm pleasantly surprised that I'm not the only one who does this. Now, the thing that blew my mind when I tried Uche's routine is the simple fact that I did not have to use a brow brush and concealer to make my eyebrows look sharp and neat and stand out. I am still shook. I had to try it again because I thought the first time was a fluke. I thought, okay, the first time is because I'm trying somebody else's routine and that's how it happened. But I wanted to try it again to make sure that it was actually a thing. And seriously, like, do you see my brows right now? I don't have to worry about shape or carving out the brows or none of that. All I literally have to do is just fill in the brows. And because my brows were somewhat micro shaded in already, it was very easy for me to get the shape and everything I need. I will say that you have to be very precise where you are drawing your brow lines. That way you don't have to worry about cleanup later. If you take your time and draw in the brows, it's gonna come out looking beautiful and sharp without you needing to go back in to clean it up or to just make it look even or to make them look like they're sisters. You know, just take your time and draw in your brows. I'm using the Sephora Collection brow pencil. This one is done too. I have another one that was done and I replaced it with this one, but now this one is done. So I'm gonna have to reach for one of my backups. I love the shade. It's not too dark. It goes on very creamy, but it's not like shiny or reflective. It does what it's supposed to do and it does it very well. Brow pencil, Sephora Collection. Okay. Now the thing here is for me, I am going to use my contour or bronzer brush to just fade out the front part of this brow a bit, you know, just to make it look like it belongs on the face. You can see the shadow is there, but it's not as pronounced as when I did her routine because by this point I would have used like 3 other bronzers over there already. I also like that it's making that V shape right there stand out, but not too much. And we're also going to just draw this line right there to just stop the concealer so that it doesn't come all the way down to the tip of the nose. Okay, this is what I learned from Uche's routine where I'm able to add parts of her routine to my already existing routine to give me a very gorgeous looking base. One thing I forgot to do in this foundation routine was setting spray before I went in with the setting powder. I am regretting it because I feel like it definitely made a difference in the overall look of the makeup. It could just be in my head, but I feel like it is making a difference in the look of the makeup, okay? I am going to do that now. I'll line my lips and then I will set it again with the setting spray to try to make up for not setting it before I went in with my foundation. Also, I think the foundation I used was entirely too light for my base and I'm not happy right now. So let's go ahead and set. Okay, we're gonna set one more time, you know, to make up for when we didn't set it after we put our concealer on. Also, keep in mind the shade of foundation I used today was a little bit on the lighter side. So next we're going in with the One Size Until Dawn setting spray. Okay, the final step that is non-negotiable is the baby doll bright under eye-ness of the whole look. So for today, my base is not as deep as I would like it to be. The foundation shade that I used that I thought was like that girl for me is actually not being that girl right now. So, you know, we're just gonna go in with the Givenchy Prism Leave in the shade number 5. This is going to be my super bright, oh my god, under eye powder to add that baby dollness to our base. I really like this step, but I may have overdone it. Know your brightening limits, right? Okay, the brightening powder definitely makes your face look very, very event focused. It is so bright. So this is the finished look of what I learned from trying Uche's foundation routine. What actually makes this work is a very bright under eye. If not, then it's gonna look like everybody else's makeup routine, okay? So even if you don't want to use a bunch of powders, or a bunch of bronzers, whatever you do, just make sure that your under eye concealer, your under eye setting powder, make sure that extra bright powder at the end is there. Make sure that your concealer is a tad bit lighter. In my case, the concealer was only like a shade lighter than what I generally use, but I did make sure to go in with the final Libre number 5 setting powder to give me a little bit more of that extra bright under eye to just help the look stand out, because the extra bright under eye at the end, that non-negotiable baby doll under eye, is what makes the look. Yes, I'm gonna keep doing this step. Yes, I'm going to keep incorporating everything I just showed you in my makeup routine. I love it. I'm gonna try somebody else's routine and see what else I can tweak and or add to this routine. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Would you try this version of the look? What steps are you going to be adding to your routine? Thank you so much for watching. Love you lots, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.